There's plenty of things that are in the app now that I had never imagined that were not ideas from my team at all. They were from you guys. And so I think that's something you can't put a price tag on. I think it was also cool because, I thought I knew everything that it needed to be, but when it gets real and you're going through it, I've found a lot of holes in what my original vision was, and you guys helped take that, and fit, fill all the missing rungs of the ladder that I didn't know were there.
All right, so hey Braxton, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about IBIY and kind of what you guys do and what your product's all about.
Yeah, so IBIY stands for I Believe in You. We make stylish, fashionable, reversible bracelets that all say I believe in you on them. The goal of the bracelet is you wear them with the intention to give them away to other people, whether it's something positive, negative, anything in between. It's about spreading kindness. And so, we kind of talk about it being a ripple effect of kindness. So it's like small acts of kindness make big waves of impact. And the cool part about it is the bracelets by themselves are really awesome, but as you're really familiar with, we have a mobile app that connects to the bracelets. And so every single bracelet has a unique ID code written to it so that when you hand it to the other person, they can touch it to their phone. They can see everywhere the bracelets went, how many cities and countries it's been to, how long the bracelet's been around, and how many people have been impacted by that bracelet. It's really awesome, but it's really all about spreading kindness and just connecting people and showing people that we're all a lot more alike than we think.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's needed very much nowadays. And I remember when we first met, I loved that. We were just so impassioned about the idea as well. So passionate about the idea. So, well, tell us kind of early stage when we first met, like what problems were you having and what were you looking to accomplish? Like that first meeting when we met.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was really trying to figure out if this idea that I had in my head was actually possible and what that was going to look like. And the when you don't build apps and you're not a technology person, which was me, I didn't really know what was possible. I just had a concept that I believed we could figure out, and so that was the first thing I think is just figuring out what was truly possible and can we do this? And not only that, but what is it going to cost us to build it and how long and what is it going to take? And so it was a bunch of different variables, and we were really just in the unknown of what it was going to take and what was really possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard when you're a founder. There's so many things to do, and there's so many. You have to fill those gaps of knowledge where you don't have where you need some help. So that's where we try to step in. So, well, what made you decide ultimately? I know we met, we had a great conversation. We loved your idea, loved your product, but what made you select, going
Yeah.
to Founders Workshop?
First and foremost, honestly, I would say that the first, rung of this answer would be the people, you guys. We because of, some of our connections met with people that built the weather app and the Nike app and the Walmart app and all these different people, but I just didn't feel connected to them. So I would say first and foremost, just the people at Founders Workshop is what drew me in the most. Because that's really important, especially when you're building something like this that's not just money and checking boxes. We really wanted people who could see the vision with us. So I think that was my biggest draw to Founders Workshop. But secondary to that was also the D1 process. After vetting 15, 20 different app companies, some people said 100 grand, some people said 300 grand. And it was in a 15 to 30-minute call to where it was like, I didn't even know if it would be worth. I didn't know what I was going to get. It just didn't feel right. And I knew they didn't fully understand the scope. And then when I spoke with you guys, you were like, oh, well, the way that we do it is through this D1 process, which is basically vetting out and fleshing out all of my ideas and organizing them into exactly what it would be and ranges of costs, but because you knew what was actually going on. So it was way more cost effective for us to flesh all of this out and really understand the capabilities, and then also not make a major commitment with a team that we didn't know what was going to happen. It was easier for us to make a smaller investment, more intimate connection. And you guys even said on the first call, you're like, everything that we build out for you, everything is yours. Even if you want to take it, package it up and take it to somebody else, everything is yours. We're going to help you flesh out the entire thing. So for me, that was no brainer. I didn't even say one word to any other app team after that call.
Yep. Perfect. I think we want to mention Discover. I know you mentioned D1. You know the process really well. So
Yeah.
maybe we could talk. So maybe I can ask you just a question or two around that. But so maybe just cover like what are the one or two things that you got out of our discovery process?
Yeah. So in the discovery process, for me, I think first and foremost, I was able to, for the first time outside of, my scribbles on a notepad, actually see my vision in a tangible way.
Mhm.
And I also learned so much about apps and development. So for one, I just got educated on a really high level.
Mhm.
Uh, again, saw it from a very tangible place. But then I think it really uncovered what this really looked like for version one all the way to scale. So I think the biggest thing about the discovery process for me was really educating me as a founder that has a lot of expertise in a lot of other things on development and the process and what building an app really means versus what you maybe think that it means if you've never done it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you touched on a little bit like, so take us through. So we went through the discovery process. And then that next phase is really that D2 or definition phase of our 5D process. That's where you kind of see your app come alive. We do the prototypes and we really think through the user experience. So tell us about that and how you felt, but
Yeah.
also the value you got about that, because that's often a very emotional, time during, for the founder.
Yeah, when we moved into D2, I think that was probably my favorite part because obviously like seeing the designs and the screens and understanding the flow and the tech stack in D1 was really awesome. But then in D2, when the designs were like completely sharpened and the flow was there and I had a clickable version, obviously it wasn't a live app, but you guys put it together in such a way that it pretty much felt like it was. And so I think for one, it was just again amazing to touch it and feel it and that like it was becoming a real thing. But also, on the business side of things, starting to really think about what you just said is the user experience, or the other term that you guys taught me is the user journey. Because when you start getting into that, that's a whole different lens to look at your business and your idea from, as like the actual user experience. So obviously I have all of my ideas, but I think that was again, just amazing to see it. But I think it was also cool because, I thought I knew everything that it needed to be. But when it gets real and you're going through it, I've found a lot of holes in what my original vision was. And you guys helped take that, and fit, fill all the missing rungs of the ladder that I didn't know were there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's often happens. I know with your app, maybe you could talk about that a little bit more, is the value that was provided there, because your team came in with just incredible ideas and then pretty well thought out already. But obviously we're like, part of the relay race. We're going to take that baton and run with you. We're part of the team and hopefully take it to the next level. So, if you want to expand upon that a little bit, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a huge piece of this as well, and why we still work together because you take my ideas and make them better. I also love that the team also, I'm dead set on this one thing because they know the vision of what I want it to be, will push back and tell me ways that it could be better or why you would recommend this because this is what you do. So I think there's so many different variables here, but the team is not just taking what I'm saying as my vision and just checking the box. They're thinking about the user's experience, the plans that we have for the business outside of the app, the whole business, not just the mobile app. And that was a big thing for me. And there's plenty of things that are in the app now that I had never imagined that were not ideas from my team at all. They were from you guys. And so I think that's something you can't put a price tag on.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So one last question. So Braxton, this is a question we love to ask, but if you knew somebody that was sitting on the fence trying to decide whether they would work with Founders Workshop or not, what would you tell them?
I'd ask them how much time they have because I got a lot of things to say. Uh, but I think it's a lot of the things that I've mentioned. For one, I think what really is a unique selling point for your guys' company is the process that you take people through. I think it really showcases that you guys are here to serve people, not just sell people. And so I think that part was really, it built a lot of trust with me in the beginning before our relationship was the way that it is now. Financially, it made more sense for us. It really gave us a good roadmap. So I think if you want a team that is really invested in the vision of your company, the vision of the app, but everything as a whole that's going to bring things to the table and not just check boxes, this is the place to be. And it's also phenomenal. I know I didn't speak a lot to all the expertise and the amazing designs and the functions, but you guys have a crazy amount of experience. And I think also the experience collectively that I know in this space, you guys are the best. The process sets you apart from everybody. The work that you guys deliver is top notch. And again, this might not be important to everybody, but to me, it was really important that your team was actually just invested in the vision as a whole. And again, brought things to the table. And you weren't just checking the boxes and asking me if it was thumbs up or thumbs down. You could tell that with every meeting that you guys bring the agenda, that there was, the business asset of checking the boxes on the list, but you brought other things to the table, that how you felt or what you saw, or your family was trying the products, the products and the process, and you guys are bringing feedback. That was huge for me. So I think my answer to them would just be, if you need a mobile app, there isn't another option.